to it. Helmets, boots, riding boots, polished to perfection, of course. I see the boots mostly, because I'm on the floor. But they're the bosses. They're the bosses. The Ukrainian militia rob us. Pretty soon a miracle happens. A miracle. I wouldn't be here because if it weren't for miracle, literally miracles. One of these beasts, we'll decide whether he was or not, I don't know. I'll just tell you the story. One of these policemen picks up some books. I guess he's bored or wants to fill his time in while the Ukrainians are robbing us. He looks at the book. Hatred. I mean, you could tell, this gesture. To them, they were conditioned that we trained, conditioned, told we are not even human beings. They're hateful Jews. Kill them, dispose of them. You can see the motion of throws the book at me. The next book, the same play, throws it. And then the miracle, the third or fourth book, was a family photo album. And then it got him interested. He opens it up, he comes to a page there where there's my father in Polish Army uniform. My father was Polish Army officer, and he looks pretty good, my father there. The saber with a horse in the background. And that did something, because he looks at that photograph, and then he looks at me. He looks at me as if I am a human being. I sense sort of a change in his mind. Something is happening. And then he looks at my father's photo, then looks at my mom. And my mom, I guess, recognized that change in his mood. And I guess, I never looked at my mom, so I can't tell you for sure, but I think she started begging him for our lives, and my husband, etc., etc., etc. And then all I can tell you, my friends, what I see. And I see him going like this, looking at it, and then with this hand like to hell with you Jews, Maybe he used other words as well. Still hatred. But with the other hand, he goes like this to the other policeman, saying probably, beckoning him, saying, let's get out of here, let's leave those Jews alone. And so they walked out. Thank God, Strauss and his mom are saved because of a whim. Because of a whim. And that happened quite often with those who survived. There was a whim, something happened to make them unique and say, well, okay. But what does it mean in terms of Holocaust? Not much, because they and their bodies went from house to house, gathering the Jews into the truck. So instead of Mark Strauss and his mom, there went Joe Schmo, maybe his mom. Because Holocaust is one of those mass murders where numbers counted. Numbers. They had to kill that many Jews, and they did. So what the hell? These two Jews? Oh, maybe they'll be taking some other time, but we get another one. We have to kill 10,000, they'll kill 10,000. Holocaust was mass murder where numbers were counted, where efficiency, effectiveness were of the utmost importance. They did their job effectively, efficiently. They murdered, and they murdered. At the end of that year, I and my parents are still there. The rest of the family is gone, as I told you. Now comes an order. Jews, the remaining Jews. So out of 100,000, there's about 10,000, 12,000, I don't know, Jews left. The remaining Jews, get out of your apartments where you always lived. And here is a poster showing a section of town, few apartment house blocks. That's all, just a few apartment blocks. Jews, you go there. We went there. My mother and I and my father, we picked up a bag or two. I mean, not a bag, like a suitcase, a bag for groceries maybe, so that local people would know that at that time we're going for the last time we're leaving our apartments, never to return. It we're going to that section of town. Otherwise, the local bandits would smash us, beat us, kill us, and take whatever we had. So we surreptitiously walk over to the section of town, go from room to room, literally. These are tenement houses, rooms. And there was one room, fewer people in there. We put our bags down, and this was our residence now, in that room. Many others, maybe 20, 30 other people. I don't know. The floor, just the floor. Everybody's on the floor. The previous population took their belongings out. I remember in our room, the only furniture was an old stinking mattress they left behind. Everybody fights to be on the mattress. At least people fight to find a place against the wall, so at least can put their back against the wall. And I'm telling you right now, if you go to the Holocaust Museum in Washington, it's a wonderful place. But when they take you to the ghetto room of this young man Daniel, that's a luxury apartment. That's not realistic. Maybe that happened in Western Europe, like in Germany for a little while, but not in our case. We were tossed together, humanity squeezed into a tiny space. Now they put barbed wire fences around those few apartment blocks. They were guarded. Jews could not get out. They erected watchtowers, machine guns, searchlights. So if Jews tried to break out, they would be murdered. Jews now were in a cage, literally cage. That cage was called ghetto. That cage was called ghetto. Well, now Mark Strauss and his parents are in ghetto, and now Germans could do more damage. Now when they want Jews to murder them, and they sure did continue that, all they have to do is come to that area, to the cage, and everybody there is Jewish. Into the truck. No more do they have to ask, where did the Jews live? Where are the Jews? Everybody's Jewish. Into the truck. And execution. But not only that, now they have other weapons. Hunger. They can cut off the food supply, and they did that. They can cut, people would starve, and they did. They cut off the water. That was horrible. No flushing of toilets. No flushing of toilets. Enough water drips through the pipes so we have some to drink, but no flushing, no pressure whatsoever. And not enough to catch enough water to pour it down the toilet. That was terrible. Disease became prevalent. Typhoid fever. It was especially bad. I'm lucky I didn't catch typhoid fever. I'm lucky because my dad was, of course, military man. He was a better physical specimen. He was taken into a special working unit. A few hundred Jews, maybe 300 we all were there, maybe 10,000 by that, less than 10,000. And that unit, under guard, would report to the gate would open up, and that unit would march out and work outside. This was great because my father was able to smuggle at the risk to himself, the risk of his life, literally. He smuggled in some food. And so my mom and I had something to eat. So you see how lucky I am. I'm very, very lucky. That was the cage. I want to tell you how we survived when they used to come and get the Jews again and take them and execute them. My mom and I, my dad, of course, he worked outside. He was a good man. He was a heroic stature. He dug a hole in the ground. Close to that tenement house where we had the room. Deep hole in the ground, deep, maybe 6 feet, narrow, very narrow. And whenever we knew that they are coming to get the Jews. And my mom and I would walk over there. He would uncover the hole. My mom would slide down into the hole, sit on a strip of dirt, and I would come and sit on her lap, and then my father would cover us up. And so we were hiding. We were hiding from them. And, well, I told you, a matter of life and death, but the life itself, for those of us who survived, was ugly. Most of the time, it's ugly, ugly. Now you can imagine us there in the darkness. I sit on my mom's lap for hours, maybe up to 10 hours. We have a little bit of something to eat, maybe water to drink. And then if my mom wants to relieve herself, what can the woman do? She can't walk out, and she would be discovered. The guy, she's got past me that sitting on her lap. She had to do everything right underneath herself, shoot underneath herself, and then sit in that stinking muck for the rest of the time. Now, at the age of 12 and a half, I had to relieve myself on top of my own mother. Now, if that isn't sick, I don't know what is sick. I just want to give you a little example of that kind of life that we have to lead. Surviving was not pleasant at all. At all. At every instance, every day, some different kind of ugliness appeared. Something that is inhuman, abnormal, ugly, sick. We survived. We survived. But the things we had to do are not fit to tell sometimes, but I want you to know, so I'm telling you something of it. Well, we're coming to the end of the presentation, right? How much more time does it have? I have 10 minutes. Mark survived. I was smuggled out of the cage, and at the end I was hidden in a little room. I was hidden by Polish Christian couple, old people in their 70s who wanted to do something good. My father was able to smuggle me out of the cage with his working group, and then I walked over to the lady's apartment house. She waited there for me, and she put me in a little room, 10 by 7, where I was hidden for a year and a half. From the age of 12 and a half to 14, I'm your age now. Imagine being incarcerated for a year and a half. You don't walk out of the room, you stay in the room, and what do you do in the room? Well, you can't even walk or stand, because the room is on the first floor, and people can see you through the window, so you don't dare to show yourself, arouse suspicion, which could lead into your detection, identification as a Jew, and then your death, and the death of your benefactors. So for a year and a half, from the age of 12 and a half to 14, I'm incarcerated, literally incarcerated, but I do survive. I do survive. At that time, I just want to let you know that it was not easy. From other points of view, many people here today don't realize that Germans killed more non-Jewish people than Jewish people. Jewish people were unfortunate in number in percentages. Percentages were horrendous. Others, there are more of them. They killed the Poles, they killed the Russians, they killed the Czechs, they killed the Serbs. They even, at the end, were beginning to kill Italians as well, their former allies. They were brutes. They were beasts. What can I tell you? Well, I'm alive. You might think that I dwell upon Holocaust all the time. I don't, my friends. I come here, I tell you the story, and then I go off and I do other things. And I think Mrs. Tomasz already indicated that I do have a rich life. I certainly do. I do a lot of painting, and I brought with me some of the prints, which you see have nothing to do with Holocaust whatsoever. Many of these prints are whimsical, lots of landscapes. I paint with oils and brushes. These are prints. They're you over there, are you listening? I said many things about Germans in peace, Ukrainians who helped them, but let me tell you, my friend, no uncertain terms, I do not hate German people. In fact, my wife is a third-generation German woman. I do not hate any people. I don't also love any people. Tell me you're Jewish, I'll shake your hand, that's good. That doesn't mean that automatically I think of you, you're better, or I love you because you're Jewish. I look upon every human being as an individual. I really don't care what color your skin is. It could be green as far as I'm concerned. I don't care what your religion is. If you're a good individual, we can be friends and we can work together. That one last thing is extremely important for our future as a country. We have to work together and work well. You have to learn, you have to become a professional, and you have to be good at your profession. And then together, I think we can overcome the difficulties that are facing our nation, are facing the world, literally. I'm not very optimistic. I'm not telling you everything is hunky-dory. It is not. It will not be. But if you learn, if you respect your fellow citizens, if you work together, I think we can do all right. So with those words, I want to end my presentation. But I know that many students are interested in my work. And if you like to have it, unfortunately I have to sell it, but not much. They're $20 each the way they are. And if you want any one of those, just one, no two, just one. These are cards. I have pencils. Come over here. Talk to me if you want to. And if you want to, put your name, what you want, the title of the painting, and your email address so we can stay in contact in the future. And tomorrow, you can pick it up in the library. I'll leave them today. I'll go back to the car, roll them up for you with your name on it, and leave them in the library. And then you pay $20 to the librarian, and you can pick up your print. So you have a minute or two or three. I'm here. If you want to ask me a question, I know you weren't able to, but we didn't have much time. Come here, let's ask me a question, or if you take a look at the minutes.
The ladder point. just, you know,